Good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning to y'all, and happy Monday. It is a beautiful day here in Mississippi. It is a gorgeous day here in Mississippi. I'm getting ready to have a fun-filled day of doing a little bit of yard work now that the rainy weather has gone away, and so I'm really excited about that. Yard work is kind of my peaceful place. I pray that everybody has had an amazing weekend. I missed you guys on Sunday. Sundays are typically probably going to be the days where I just take it and I just rest in God's presence. And so, as always, as y'all are coming in, go ahead and tell God thank you. And even if you catching it on a replay, go ahead and let us know that you're on a replay. Tell us what you're grateful for. Today, hey Visha, I will say that today I am just thankful, just honestly, for God paving the way, and just honestly for God giving me the courage to move forward. Like that is what, oh, these butterflies are beautiful. But that is what I am grateful for on today. As you guys know, this is our daily manna that we have every single weekday and even on Saturdays. I'm a few minutes behind, but I'm right on time. Today's message is going to be a simple one. I feel like for me, this weekend was a very emotional weekend for a whole lot of different reasons. I'm going to just start there. As you guys can see, the title of this is Out with the Old, In with the New. It was a weekend of a whole lot of new things, but it was also just very rocky for me because a lot of the things that God has been opening me up to in this season, it's kind of like grieving my mama, grieving my aunt. Well, grieving, I'm gonna just call her mama. Grieving her in a way, it's like I can't call her and say, "Guess what I did?" Auntie, guess what I got. And so it's been very, very rocky from that standpoint of just being very emotional about it in itself and all the different things that I've just encountered in the month of April. And so yesterday was one of those days where I just had to just sit in God's presence, and I just, it was just an emotional day. However, like towards the latter part of the day, God began to deal with me about out with the old, in with the new. We are officially in the last few days of April. I don't know about y'all, but April has whooped my butt, so I'm ready for it to go. I'm gonna say it again. I don't know about y'all, but April has whooped me. And listen, it has whooped me. Listen, like a Hebrew slave. I'm not even gonna lie. And so I'm excited about May. But out with the old, in with the new is the title. Last night was one of those moments where it's kind of like I've been in a place where in certain areas it's like, okay, God, you're telling me to move forward, but I don't know where to move forward from. And so sometimes in life we go through phases as God is leading us into the new where it seems like, well, I don't even know what the new thing is, and sometimes we just feel stuck. And so I've had so many moments within just this season where it's like, okay, God, I know that change is coming, but I'm looking for the path forward. I can't find it. And so I've been having this inner battle with feeling like, how do I move forward, or how do I break away from where I am to move forward into what God has for me? Does that make sense what I'm saying? I'm going to say it again. How do I, follow God into the new thing, but also find the courage to break free from the old thing? I feel like a lot of times when we talk about out with the old, in with the new, a lot of times the new thing, we don't really have a clear glimpse of the new thing until we fully let go of the old. I'm gonna say that again. A lot of times we don't fully have a glimpse of the new thing, which is why it is so hard to shift over into the new, because a lot of times our mindset is, well, what I'm gonna have if I shift over into this, or we just feel so uncertain that our worst fears began to just ruminate in our mind, where it's like, okay, well, God, if you ain't telling me where exactly I'm going, you just start automatically feeling like it's gonna be traumatic, or it's going to go back to you going through something that you didn't want to go through. And so a lot of times in moments, right, a lot of times in moments where we are trying to shift over into the new, that's really the greatest battle that we fight. And you are absolutely correct. It will happen if you have faith. But in order to have faith, even in shifting into the new, there are things that you have to do. Like you have to be willing to follow God. It don't just happen by us just sitting back and doing nothing. And so a lot of times it's about working up the courage to actually follow God. You get what I'm saying? Working up the courage to actually shift with God. And so I feel like this month, there were so many shut doors that, oh, it's a lizard. There was so many like shut doors that like I was experiencing, and it's okay, God, you want me to shift, but where do I shift? Is it gonna be like a okay, so I'm gonna just be transparent. One of the things that happened this month was my barber pushed my hairline back. Like it was back and it was wide. Like it was real bad to the point where I almost wanted to cry. And if I can be real, sometimes with shifting over into the new you we be knowing that change is happening, but we don't shift. Before she made that mistake, I already knew that this is not like where I'm supposed to like stay. God had already shown me the next place, but I was just like, well, it's a good, it's doing the job. I'm okay. And so something else happened before like the entire mess up where her schedule like shifted, where instead of doing mornings, she can only work afternoons. And so like I'm looking at everything that is happening. And if I can be real, my mindset was I would just rather like adjust my schedule than shift to the new. Ooh, chasing after comfort. I'm going to say it again. Absolutely, 2-0. Absolutely. What is your name? But yeah, I'm going to say it again. So it's like my mindset was, even though I see all these things changing before my eyes, like I can look at it and I can see tangible evidence that something is about to shift. My mindset, because of trauma, because of just being afraid, because of all these different things, it's just like, I God, I see you, but I would rather just stay comfortable. I would just rather like adjust my schedule and just let that be it. And so it got to the point where I didn't shift when God told me to shift, and then that mistake happened. And if I can be real, like even after that mistake, I was a little bit frantic. Like I was frantic because I'm like, now I don't trust her. I can't go back to her. So what do I do? And I'm sitting here puzzled, right? And God is telling me, I've already told you where to go. But if we know anything about like the newness of a thing, the newness of something is scary because you don't know how it's going to affect your life. You don't know what's on the other side. You have faith that what God is bringing is better than like than like where you've been. You have faith that like he's pushing you right to a better space than where you are. But the reality of it is there is so much fear with shifting over into the new. And I feel like a lot of people glorify the new thing. A lot of people just, and it's exciting. But what people don't talk about is how sometimes the new thing is scary, because sometimes the new thing is a reminder of, or sometimes the new thing is an opportunity to overcome trauma. Sometimes the new thing, it will cost you something of the old. And so for many different reasons, we have so much fear when it revolves around that. And so I've just been in that place where last night, I had, okay, so I'm gonna be transparent. Last night I reached out to my barber, and I was gonna still go to this young lady. What's a low traffic day that I can come? What is a low traffic day that I can come to you so that you can just line me up so that my ends are not looking, so I don't look homeless, right? And so she basically was giving me the runaround. She asked to see my hair because I'm like, I don't want to come at a time when people are there because I'm not happy with how my hair looked. So instead of her addressing my line, she like, you ready to cut it yet? And I'm just like, what is with this girl and cutting my hair? Just line me, just do what I'm asking you to do. And so I told God last night. Now the fun fact is the gentleman that God showed me to go to, and that's one thing that I love about God. A lot of times God won't ask you. Sometimes He will ask you to shut a door, and you don't know what's coming. But in this particular instance, God asked me to shut a door, and He told me where to go. And so the thing about the person that He has me going to is they are always booked. Like last month, it wasn't the time, but they are just always booked. And so yesterday I sat, and last night, and I said, Lord, if this is something like if he's for me, like let him have a slot this week. And if he has a slot this week, I will willingly shift into the new. And so what do you know? This barber had one slot on Wednesday at 8:30. I kid y'all not. I literally told God, if this guy has an opening this week, I'll go. I will shift. He had one opening. The next opening was not until next week on Tuesday. But this guy had one opening, and the Lord said, go ahead and book it. And so I ended up booking it. And the Lord began to deal with my heart about out with the old and in with the new. And one of the things that I heard the Lord telling me was that in this season, for many of us, what God is bringing to our life is something that is better than where we are. But in order to get to that place where where we are living in the fullness of better, God is going to require that we shut some type of door. Even when it revolves around people, I feel like this month has also been one of those months where we can say the devil, use people, but I like to say it like this, where God showed me people's true colors. And so even on yesterday, it's just been one lingering individual that even though I cut them off, they just are just persistent. And at every single juncture, when some of y'all, you're about to resonate with this, at every single juncture of me about to let down my guard and let the individual back in, it's like the Lord allows for the enemy to activate that person. And so it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, the devil is activating this person. It's clear that God, hey, myaniii, that God needs me to just separate from this situation. And so last night, on a night where I'm trying to shift over into the new, the Lord allowed for it to happen again. And I heard the Lord say that in order for you to receive the new thing, and I'm gonna say this, sometimes the new thing is your breakthrough. Sometimes the new thing is your miracle. Sometimes the new thing is that job that you've been waiting for. Sometimes the new thing is the vehicle that you've been believing God for. Sometimes the new thing is the marriage that you've been preparing for. You've been in a season of isolation, a season of singleness. Sometimes that is the new thing that God has for you. And so it's kind of like we can't receive it if our hands are tied up to the wrong things. When I was in my wilderness, God told me this because I had trouble letting go. And this was something that like I went through as a kid. Losing, a parent at a young age, losing another father figure at a young age, just trauma with grief developed in me a fear of loss. And how that translated like in my adulthood years would be like, okay, I'm in certain environments, I have certain friends, I'm in certain relationships, and even though I know that it's not good, because I have a fear of loss, I will choose people at the expense of me. I will become whatever version of me, that you feel I should be, if that means I don't ever have to experience fear of loss. And so for years, I was in so many toxic cycles in relationships and stuff. And so fast forward, I get into my wilderness and God is teaching me faith. Faith, and when we break down what the journey of faith really looks like, faith is a journey where you have to relinquish control to God. Woo. Whew. I'm going to say it again. Faith is a journey where you have to relinquish control to God. And a lot of times in relinquishing control to God, God will ask for you to let go of certain things. In whatever area God is teaching you how to trust Him, trust and believe He will ask you to let go of something. And so in this season, like it was a season of like God asking me to let go of things, right? It was a season of God saying, like, give me that. Like, yeah, let go of this. Walk away. If you trust me, walk away from this and follow me. Follow me down the path that I'm leading you, right? And so it got to a place where, if I can just be for real, where I was struggling to follow God. I was struggling to let go of certain things. I did not trust God, and so I struggled to give Him control. Giving God control a lot of times looks like letting go in itself, letting go of control, letting go of tangible things. It just is what it is. That is the journey of faith, and that's the journey that it takes us on, right? And just believing that as I let go, God will step in and place me right exactly where I need to be. And so in this season, I was really struggling with letting go. And God told me one day, I remember this one particular day, I was outside of my mom's house. And the Lord told me, He says, close your hands. He says, can a closed hand open a doorknob? I feel the Holy Spirit. I was saying again, He said, can a closed hand open a doorknob? I said, no, Lord. He said, what do you have to do if you want to open a doorknob and walk through a door? You have to open your... Ooh. You have to open your hands, come on, to be able to get it. He said the same, Capone, no. He said the same thing is prevalent when it revolves around your walk with me, when it revolves around the journey of faith. If you want to receive from me, you've got to learn to relinquish control, right? When we have worship hands, because some of y'all put like the little worship hand emojis in the chat, we don't close with, we don't close, right? Or we don't worship with closed hands. When we worship, we put our hands in the air and we open our palms, right? We open our palms. That's us giving and receiving. There is a heavenly exchange when we do that. The Lord said the same thing is very prevalent with the blessings that you are believing me for. You can't receive from heaven if your hands are like this. So open, right? Let go and let things flow the way that they're supposed to be. You get what I'm saying? Because if you do that, you will always find yourself on the receiving end of a breakthrough. On the Bo, come here. Come here. What are you doing? What are you doing? You will always find yourself on the receiving end of a blessing or a breakthrough. And so that journey of my life, faith looked like me letting go of the grip that I had on certain things, on life in itself, and giving God full and total control to do with that season as he willed. Does that make sense? And so that's kind of been where I've been, out with the old, in with the new. And that was really the message that God gave me today. And I feel like even it's an in season word. For the things that like you're believing God for, there will be something, some sort of requirement that the Lord asks of you. There will be something that he asks you to loosen your grip on this or let go of it fully. And the only way to your promise, the only way to your expected end is if you trust God enough, right, to loosen your grip. I believe in this season, many of us in the month of April, even though there's been a shaking in the month of April, there's without a shadow of a doubt, God has still been present. And I believe that even in this month that God has been dealing with many of us about letting go of certain things, about relinquishing control. And I'm gonna say this, a lot of times when we're going through storms, trials and tribulations, or storms of any kind, we look at the discomfort and say it's the devil. But I want to challenge everybody that is watching this, whether you're here today, whether you're here a year from now, a month from now, whatever the case may be. Look at your current struggle and ask yourself, what is God teaching me how to let go of? And is letting go of this thing, going to, put me in a position where I can receive something that is greater in nature? And so that's today's word. Listen, if you have not hit that thumbs up button, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. As always, if this has blessed you, can you please just tell God thank you? If you have not already hit that subscription button, please be sure that you hit that subscription button, because God does not do, he don't do coincidences. And so right now we are about to shift over to TikTok. Not just yet. I feel like I need to. God wants me to mow my yard first. We got a really hot day, so I'm gonna go ahead and mow first. But I'll be on TikTok probably around 11:30. To those of y'all that feel led to sow, the seed number is 88. It's the number of new beginnings. Whether you're sowing 8 cents, whether you're sowing $8, whether you're sowing $80, whether you're sowing 88, whether you're sowing 188, whatever you feel like you want to sow, that is what you should sow. And you just label this, you're out with the old, in with the new seed. The ways to sow are always pinned in the description of every single video. If you're watching on the replay, you can find the chat. You can find the moderators posting it in the chat on the live replay. If you need to book a one-on-one coaching session with me, if you need that one-on-one time with me, all you got to do is go to www.thoughtsbyT.com and you can book your session that way. Until the end of May, they are on sale for $35. That is a $50 discount. And so if you want to book a session, that is the avenue to do so. If you're not following me on TikTok, the name is ThoughtsbyT. I love y'all though. I am rooting for y'all. And so until next time, y'all, peace. For everybody else that's shifting over to TikTok, give me about a good old hour so I can mow this yard before it get hot. It's supposed to be like 90 degrees and it's already burning up, and it's just 10. So I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, y'all. Peace.